Driving on major interstates like I-95 has completely changed this year, and the vast majority of motorists remain entirely unaware of the new regulations. What most people never find out until it is too late is that these revised rules carry hefty financial and legal penalties that far outlast a simple ticket on the roadside. It is critical to understand these shifts because highway regulations are overhauled constantly, and the public is rarely given a clear explanation of how these changes directly impact the person behind the wheel. Spanning approximately 1,925 miles from the warmth of Miami all the way to the Canadian border up in Maine, I-95 crosses through 15 different states as well as Washington, D.C. Federal crash data reveals that this heavily traveled corridor ranks as the single most perilous interstate across the nation, claiming an average of nearly 284 lives annually. Because of this intense traffic volume and tragic safety record, this specific highway has been selected as the primary testing ground for cutting-edge traffic enforcement technology in 2026. What begins as a trial along this route typically migrates to highways nationwide within 12 to 24 months, meaning that even if you never travel along I-95, these shifting protocols matter to you as similar legislation is currently advancing through state houses across the entire country. Consider the recent developments in Delaware, where the statistical data is genuinely shocking. On May 23rd of this year, Delaware's Department of Transportation initiated automated speed enforcement within the Churchman's Marsh work zone located on northbound US 95 in the vicinity of Wilmington. This monitoring is tied to a bridge rehabilitation project scheduled to remain underway until the middle of 2027. Ahead of actual financial penalties, motorists were granted a 3-week probationary window during which they received informational notices rather than monetary fines, a grace period that officially concluded on May 23rd. The financial penalties are structured around a posted speed limit of 55 miles an hour in that construction zone. Drivers detected traveling 11 miles per hour or more above that threshold, which equates to speeds of 66 miles per hour or faster, face an initial base fine of $20, supplemented by an additional $1 for every single mile per hour exceeded, plus various state assessments that effectively double the overall penalty. Consequently, any motorist flagged at a speed of 66 miles per hour faces a total financial penalty exceeding $100. During the initial 3 days of active camera operation, even before the introductory warning phase had fully wound down, DelDOT documented upwards of 10,000 vehicles traveling at least 11 miles an hour over the designated limit. Within that brief window, 39 vehicles were recorded exceeding 100 miles per hour, including one extreme driver clocked at an astonishing 139 miles per hour inside the 55 miles per hour zone. It is vital to recognize a crucial distinction regarding how these infractions are handled by the legal system. These notifications are civil citations mailed directly to the registered owner of the automobile rather than criminal moving violations written on the spot by a law enforcement officer. In the state of Delaware, this specific classification means the infraction will not accumulate points against a driver's license and will not appear as a moving violation on a personal driving history. While that provides some financial relief regarding your record, it simultaneously leaves almost no avenue for fighting the charge, given that there is no roadside stop, no physical officer, and no opportunity for discussion. The automated system captures the license plate, an administrator verifies the footage, and the citation is mailed straight to the individual who holds the vehicle registration, completely ignoring who is actually operating the vehicle at that moment. This methodology is not an entirely new concept for Delaware, as a matching camera system near the Route 896 interchange along I-95 has been operational since 2024, generating over 400,000 violations while successfully lowering median speeds through that sector by roughly 10%. State officials are actively broadening this automated strategy, and neighboring jurisdictions like Maryland, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and multiple other states have already debuted or are currently trialing matching work zone photo enforcement systems. Anyone navigating through a highway construction area anywhere along the East Coast this summer should operate under the assumption that automated cameras are actively monitoring their speed, as the regulatory momentum is shifting decisively in that direction. The second major regulatory transition centers on cellular phone use, marking a profound transformation in how the legal system penalizes handheld electronic devices. In Pennsylvania, a measure known as Paul Miller's Law, enacted in memory of a 21-year-old who lost his life due to a distracted motorist in 2010, has officially been active since June 2025. However, state troopers were restricted to issuing written warnings during its inaugural year, a transitional time frame that expired on June 5th of this year. Moving forward, merely gripping a mobile device while operating a vehicle in Pennsylvania constitutes a primary offense, authorizing law enforcement to initiate a traffic stop solely for that behavior without needing any secondary infraction. The base penalty is set at $50, though the inclusion of mandatory court expenditures and administrative fees generally elevates the final out-of-pocket cost to somewhere between $125 and $200. A highly unexpected detail often catches motorists completely off guard, as the statutory definition of driving encompasses any period where a vehicle is momentarily immobilized by a red light, a stop sign, or gridlocked traffic congestion. This means that merely looking down at a text message while waiting at a red light on I-95 in Philadelphia is fully subject to a citation under these stricter guidelines. For standard non-commercial drivers, this particular infraction does not penalize your license with points and does not instantly trigger an automatic insurance surcharge the way a major moving violation might. Nonetheless, insurance corporations do view these citations when reviewing motor vehicle records during policy renewals, and multiple carriers have explicitly confirmed that they interpret handheld device violations as an elevated risk indicator, which can ultimately drive up premium costs even in the absence of points. Pennsylvania is just the latest to join an expanding coalition of states, including Florida, Ohio, California, New York, and New Jersey, where this precise type of phone enforcement is categorized as a primary violation rather than an add-on infraction. A third critical adjustment involves move-over legislation, an area where an immense number of experienced motorists mistakenly believe they fully comprehend the law, when the legal boundaries have actually expanded right beneath them. While every state has mandated for years that drivers reduce their speed or switch lanes when approaching stopped emergency vehicles, the current state-by-state evolution centers on who qualifies for these roadside protections. An expanded statute in California went into effect on January 1st of this year, forcing motorists to decelerate or vacate the adjacent lane for any stationary vehicle showing activated hazard lights, flares, or reflective warning triangles, moving far beyond the traditional protection of police cruisers and tow trucks. This expanded safety net now shields everyday citizens stranded on the highway shoulder with a flat tire. Florida implemented a highly comparable adjustment back in January 2025, while New Jersey currently has a bill progressing through its state legislature to accomplish the same goal, with matching statutory updates advancing through legislative houses in Ohio, Wisconsin, and several other regions as we speak. Consequently, if your home state has not formalized this expanded protection yet, there is a very strong probability it will do so within the coming year. The explicit legal benchmark in the majority of these states requires far more than a minor tap on the brakes, as many jurisdictions mandate an exact reduction of 20 miles per hour under the posted speed limit, or a specific fixed lower speed if a safe lane change is impossible. Merely checking your speed slightly fails to satisfy the legal definition in most areas. Financial penalties for neglecting to move over generally span from $150 to $500 for an initial infraction, and multiple states enforce an automatic driver's license suspension if the violation culminates in a traffic collision. The fourth operational shift is a relatively recent development that is significantly harder to navigate because it dismantles the classic defense strategy that veteran drivers utilize instinctively. Known as average speed enforcement or point-to-point monitoring, multiple states are launching pilot initiatives for this system in 2026. Rather than relying on a solitary camera stationed at a single spot, This architecture deploys a pair of cameras, placing one at the entryway of a designated highway stretch and another at the exit point. The system timestamps the exact moment a license plate passes each camera, computes the net average velocity across that entire span of road, and automatically prints a ticket if that computed average surpasses the speed limit. The critical takeaway here is straightforward. Slamming on your brakes just as you cruise past a camera housing serves no purpose when the system evaluates your overall pace across several miles rather than a single point in time, leaving no hidden zones to decelerate and then accelerate again. This specific tracking method has delivered quantifiable traffic safety upgrades across parts of Europe for years and is currently making its debut via pilot programs in various regions of the United States. Because the exact timeline and specific highway selections for this rollout remain fluid, any definitive rumors regarding specific stretches of I-95 should be approached with a degree of skepticism right now, but the overarching trajectory is undeniable, making it wise to understand this technological shift before encountering it unexpectedly on the open road. The fifth regulatory update does not occur on the pavement at all, but unfolds the exact instant a law enforcement officer queries a vehicle registration plate. An increasing number of states are establishing direct, instantaneous links to private auto insurance databases, enabling an officer to verify whether a policy is fully active before they ever walk up to a driver's side window, eliminating the need to wait for a physical card or a digital app. Jurisdictions such as Alabama, Texas, Georgia, Michigan, and Mississippi have maintained these systems for some time, and additional states integrate this instantaneous verification capability every single year. The real-world consequence of this connectivity is that a temporary lapse in coverage that previously went undetected, such as an automated payment failing quietly or a premium arriving a single day late, is now instantly flagged the moment an officer scans a plate. Whether pulled over for a routine traffic stop or simply passing through a camera-monitored corridor, dealing with an uninsured status is no longer a simple, isolated fine. Across most states, a coverage gap of this nature creates a permanent mark on an insurance file that directly impacts premium rates for years down the road. Looking at the broader picture, the practical reality of these shifting highway rules is what truly matters. Photo enforcement inside active construction zones is multiplying rapidly and no longer features the traditional warning windows drivers once relied upon. Handheld mobile device prohibitions are migrating from secondary to primary offenses across a growing list of states, heavily impacting drivers even when their vehicles are completely stationary in traffic. Simultaneously, move-over laws have quietly broadened to safeguard any disabled motorist using hazard lights, rather than just flashing emergency lights, leaving many unaware of the precise deceleration thresholds mandated by law. Furthermore, point-to-point average speed tracking is beginning to render traditional camera-slowing tactics entirely obsolete, while instantaneous insurance verification ensures that any coverage lapse is instantly identified before a driver can quietly rectify it. This reality is not shared to discourage anyone from enjoying the open road, but rather to ensure that a surprise envelope in the mail is not how you discover these rewritten regulations. The most proactive steps to take this week involve visiting your State Department of Transportation website to verify any recent amendments to local move-over mandates, ensuring your cellular device is completely hands-free while in motion, and double-checking that your auto policy is fully paid and active before embarking on any long-distance summer travel. If this breakdown provided valuable insight, sharing it with fellow drivers who frequently travel along I-95 or who are preparing for an upcoming road trip this season could save someone from an unexpected financial penalty they never anticipated.